Welcome back to part 2 of The Guilty Feminist. So plug in and get ready for the fun. Hello, Leicester Square Theatre. Are you ready for even more Guilty Feminist? Then put your hands together and please give a big Guilty Feminist Nerve News welcome to the wonderful GeeJay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. My goodness, we're looking wonderful. It's big smiles in the house this evening. I wanted to start you with this song, which is basically an account from my former self, early 20s. I'd started traveling around the world, and I wrote this as how it left me feeling, how, as a young woman, I was treated or were left feeling after different experiences along the way. And what I drew was a complicated world, and it left me feeling quite ordinary. So this one is Ordinary Girl. Ordinary girl in a complicated world. I know I try to live the life I want to live. Ordinary girl in an overcomplicated world. Oh, I got a vision I see. I wanna cross the ocean seas. Listen, I will rise, I know I'll try to cross the upward seas. The issues up will bliss. Ordinary girl in a complicated world. I know I try to live the life I want to live. Ordinary girl in an overcomplicated world. Oh, I'm a diamond in the rough. I will show I'm good enough. I'm caught up in the dream that's all I know. I'm heading upstream, keep pushing against the flow. Hear the words that I sing. I show that I am worth more than you think. Listen, I will rise, I know I'll try to cross the upward seas. The issues up will bliss. Ordinary girl in a complicated world. I know I try to live the life I want to live. Ordinary girl in an overcomplicated world. Oh, I want to be extraordinary. I wanna share my thoughts and dreams. I wanna be all I can be. Complicated world. I know I try to live the life I want to live. Ordinary girl in an overcomplicated world. Oh yeah. It's complicated, but we'll make it. Thank you. As with all of you here this evening and everybody on this stage this evening, I just wanted to add this second song in called Proud to Be Me, because sometimes, life is a real challenge. And if we don't have the right people around us to say, you know what, you need to take a minute and be proud of yourself, this song is for all of us to take that minute and say, you know what, I'm proud to be me. So this one's Proud to Be Me. Oh, I walk here as if I'm 10 feet tall, 'cause I'm proud to be me. Oh, I walk, yeah, with my heart on my sleeve, 'cause I'm proud to be me. You don't know what I've been through, but I'm sure if you've seen it, you'll be proud to be me. I hold my head high wherever I go. I hold my head high, and that's for sure. I will always try and take love in my stride, 'cause I'm proud, yeah, proud, yeah, proud. Well, I'm proud to be me. I will always try and take love in my stride, 'cause I'm proud, yeah, proud, yeah, proud. Well, I'm proud to be me. When I look back and see how far I've come, makes me proud to be me. When I look back and see what I've achieved, makes me proud to be me. You don't know what I've been through, but I'm sure if you've seen it, you'll be proud to be me. 'Cause I hold my head high wherever I go. I hold my head high, and that's for sure. I will always try and take love in my stride, 'cause I'm proud, yeah, proud, yeah, proud. Well, I'm proud to be me. I will always try and take love in my stride, 'cause I'm proud, yeah, proud, yeah, proud. Well, I'm proud to be me. If you'd have seen it, what we've been through, and how we stood up, and how we learned to let go. I know you'll be proud to be me. Clap. I will always try. You take love in my stride, 'cause I'm proud, yeah, proud, yeah, proud. Well, I'm proud to be me. Come on, hey, hey. I will always try and take love in my stride, 'cause I'm proud, yeah, proud, yeah, proud. Well, I'm proud to be me. Thank you.
GeeJay, everybody! Give it up for GeeJay. Fun fact, their names are in fact G and J. They are. They're short for, but I love that. I only discovered them because of Jane at the Nerve News, but they've got lots and lots and lots of Spotify monthly users. I don't know how we live in the world now. Something to do with monthly users. Why? Remember when you used to go and buy a record from the shop, and you'd be so excited to get it home, and you'd read the notes on the album. I liked that time, and nobody had monthly users. It just sounds like, oh, we're using you. Do you know what I mean? A user was a bad thing. Oh, she's a bit of a user, they'd say. Now, no artist can survive without users. We have to make content, which just sounds like vomit. Like, this is just a thing for you to just hoover up into the machine. Content, no, it's art. They make art. You could be a fan/listener. Don't be a user. Anyway, go and find their stuff, and however it helps them, follow them. I'm aware I sound 105. Don't give a fuck, I'm correct. Are we ready for some more deep dive conversation? Do you have some cues ready so that there are some A's? Get your cues ready. Please welcome back to the stage my co-host for this evening is Ria Lina. And our guests, Carole Cadwalladr and Lucia Osborne-Crowley. Thank you.
I said it feels like the walk of shame.
Oh, I see. Why? Did you just do someone in the audience? That was a quick interval work, I have to say. Listen, we do what we can to get by now. We do what we need to do.
Do what you need to do.
Do what we need to do. And, you know, sometimes urges must be met. But I have to say, you're the first guest to have said walking onto stage is the walk of shame. So
It is the guilty feminist, though.
Listen, it's not. We don't call it the guilty feminist for nothing. So let's dive back in after that beautiful musical interlude. I do like when we have a bigger show in a bigger theatre, we like to do like feminist variety. So, we've got poetry, we've got songs. It just makes the evening so much lovelier. I've always thought the only thing we've never had is a feminist magician. And I've always thought it'd be great to get a feminist magician who at the beginning of the show cuts a man in half and then just leaves him there. And then people just leave going, bye, and then he's just there, just waving out of a box. That would be great. So let's gear change back into our discussion about how terrible the world is.
Do you know the problem with that trick, though? Is because I think they do it with, like, 2 people. So that would mean that we'd be hiring 1 feminist female magician and 2 men.
They'd be volunteers. They'd be audience volunteers. And
okay.
Yeah. I think that would be the best. Now...
we don't have to saw them in the middle, do we?
No. I don't think we have to work out all the statistics now, to be honest. Some of this can be done backstage. Now, Carole, you have written very brilliantly about the Epstein files. How are you feeling about all of this now? If you could share something with the audience about this, how we got here, where we're going, how we might get justice, anything in that area. How do you feel about it all?
So, well, I have to say, I felt very lucky for quite a long period of time in that there was this terrible story and people like Lucia were, really getting into the weeds and having to deal with this man and what he'd done. And I felt really relieved because this is not my beat. And I was like, I've done a decade of like these deep dives into things like Silicon Valley tech companies. And oh, that's very kind.
Yeah, you famously broke Cambridge Analytica, which is such an extraordinary
scandal.
story.
So I've been reckoning with these Silicon Valley companies and their impunity.
I really thought you were going to say Silicon Valley cunts there. Did anyone else think that?
I'm here for it.
The whole audience is like, that's what we thought she was going to say. It was like,
definitely
wow.
Here for it. So those Silicon Valley companies, and I've been dealing with the far right, with Steve Bannon, with the rise of populism in Britain, in Europe, in America. I've been really looking at Russian interference and the effect that that's had on our world and our elections. And I've crossed into Israeli defense tech and surveillance firms. So this has all been sort of like part of my orbit of what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And I could ignore stories like Epstein. And then the files came out and, it was there. Obviously, you start doing your keywords and you start looking things up. And it really did blow my mind because not only did I find out that all of these different worlds that I'd been looking at, the Silicon Valley tech companies and the Russian interference and the Israeli spy companies and the European far right, they're all in there, they're all connected. And the person who connects them all is Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
So it really did kind of blow my mind. And of course, it's not just Jeffrey Epstein connects them, it's also the trafficking of women and girls, like underlies all of these things, all of these connections and all of these relationships, which are so fundamental to what has happened in our world in the last 10 years. And so on the one hand, my mind was blown. And I was kind of excited in that way that you can, in those sort of early days of looking in the files, the US news organization seems to be completely asleep at the wheel. You could just delve in there and find, sort of scoop after scoop. And I was like, okay, great, I'm going to do this Russian, he's communicating with this Russian spies and he's going to Moscow, he's buying an apartment there really late on, like 2019, I think it was. Went to 18. Anyway, and then I felt really overwhelmed by it all because it felt really fundamental to this world and all of the things I've been writing about, that it is underpinned by this abuse of women and girls, that's sort of baked into these technologies and this power relationships. It's all power. That's what I've been looking at. And so the fact that it's underpinned by this abuse of women and girls felt very significant. And I think the thing is, with all of the technology that I've been looking at, these companies, that is also baked into these technologies. And I sort of really sort of took a moment to think about that and really about what that says about our culture. And it was this sort of revelation in a way that, you know, we don't want to look at this stuff. And that's why, you know, on the open internet, porn isn't there, really, obviously, and the search terms aren't there, and you're not necessarily coming across it. But yet, it is by far and away the most traffic on the internet. It's what most, you know, more than anything else. And, you know, even on the most popular porn sites, the most popular content is around teens. It's barely legal. You know, that's the sort of term which is used. So there's a whole sort of market of porn, of fixation, particularly on young girls. And this is how so much of these companies are making their money, right? This is capitalism. But also the fact is they're not just making money off that, they're also accelerating and amplifying it. That's what these algorithms are doing. And they're connecting users to these material. They're growing it, they're enlarging it. And they enjoy total impunity. Like, my whole work for the last decade has been about the impossibility of holding these companies to account, of holding anybody to account. Trump personifies that, you know, and increasingly we're in this world of strong men. And so this story felt like a sort of personification almost of the geopolitical sort of circumstances in which we're living, the world that we've created, the technology that is shaping us. And it kind of just overwhelmed me even really thinking about it. And as I said, I'd really hoped that this wasn't a story that I had to go near. And it turns out that I did.
It was.
Can I ask, in your opinion, chicken and egg, is it men with this proclivity end up in positions of power? Or is it that by the time any man gets to that position of power where they can have everything they want financially, the only thing left is that which is forbidden? And therefore, I
really don't know. I mean, it's a currency. You see that in the files. You know, it's a way of bringing people in. I mean, there's a lot of academics in there, you know. And my kind of take, these are kind of guys who really didn't know how to pull their own groupies. They needed Epstein to do it for them. But I think going back to the proclivities, I mean, this is what I find so disturbing. And Deborah, what you wrote so brilliantly about in The Nerve, about these terrible sites now which are connecting men together who want to rape their sleeping partners. I mean, sorry, that was been a bit too. I mean, we have to go dark on this stuff, don't we, to do the light? But that was maybe.
It is an extraordinary thing, and I can't imagine this has always been the way it's been. Is it something to do with a lot of boys and men now have for too long had so much 24/7 access to pornography, and that pornography has got more and more extreme because I've read some stuff that says if you are addicted to pornography, in order to become aroused, in order to orgasm, you need... if you're going to sit there round the clock, you need more and more graphic visions, expressions in order to reach arousal. And so this is why pornography's got so very, very, very dark.
I mean, I think this is a world these tech companies are creating. I think you look at Giselle Pellico, you look at that example of it was more than 70 men. I think it was a 20-kilometre radius of the town. And the point is that these sites create permission. They create a normalisation. They create opportunity. They're creating this culture. And they're connecting men to other men. If these sites hadn't existed, that wouldn't have happened to her. It was all of that was enabled.
But also, I really think every single woman in this audience could see a site that said, do you want to come and look at a comatose man and touch him? And we'd all go, no, that sounds horrible. Like, not one of us would go, well, I'll pop my shoes on and see what it's like see what this is about. Like, we just wouldn't. We don't want to see a comatose man. Like, I think, now listen, and hashtag not all women. There are women that do bad things, and you read about them in the paper. You know, it isn't that women are always good. And, you know, when it comes to extortion, 50-50, women and men, it is not that women are less moral, it is that they are less violent. And that is what fascinates me about that, though, is I think for most women, consent is the point. I want to be desired. So if, for example, Jacob Elordi was hanging around in the West End because he was premiering his movie, these are just some thoughts that are just occurring to me now.
You wouldn't need to be asleep, is what you're saying.
I 100% want him to be awake, looking in my direction and going, like, if he was flirting with me, if he fancied me, that would be the fun part. If someone said, oh, we've got Jacob Elordi's passed out body in a basement, I'd be like, I'd be ringing the police. I'd be trying to get him out. I'd be like, what? That is not attractive, I think, to the vast majority of women. And I hope to the vast majority of men that is also absolutely sinister and terrible and dreadful. I would hope. But too many men, like 70
Can
men.
I add to that? That also if Jacob Elordi said, I want to sleep with 1,000 women in like 12 hours, I would not be in that queue.
Yes,
because
he'd
I'd be
have
like,
to,
no.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because the arousal, the desire for me is the point. That's the point. Like, you know, I would prefer that
It's
Jacob
not about to
Elordi's...
have. Like this seems to be about possession. It's not about to have. It's about to be with.
Yeah, I would prefer that Jacob Elordi hadn't fancied anyone for some months before. Yeah, and then he sees me and he's like, oh, I really thought I'd never love again.
I get that. I get that. And if you could boil sanitize down there as well, that would be great.
I don't want to be 1 in 1,000 in a 24-hour window. I'd just be like, oh, like, you know, it would feel like queuing up in the rain to get into the trial. Like, so, I mean, okay. That
but like
down
the
well.
trial, he'd probably conk out at 4.
The point is, what is the point? Yeah, do you see what I mean? Like, we could watch porn all day and all night and we would still never want to do that. So I don't know what's going on with men.
I think you can say that, you know, there might be impulses, there might be, you know, I think that those were held in check. I think that's the difference. And I think that these platforms are doing something different. They are creating this culture, and that culture includes the permission for a cohort of men to be okay doing this. And I think this is a new phenomenon. You know, I think we are living in a very, very experimental time. All of our brains are being wired together simultaneously with this experimental technology, which has been untested on humans. And many of those tests have really terrible, you know, consequences. You know, we see this all the time. There's these, you know, I was speaking yesterday to this guy who ChatGPT, you know, sent him into a complete delusional spiral. And he's now dealing with 250 other people who've been sent into complete delusional spirals through communicating with chatbots. You know, I mean, it's just there's so many unintended consequences. And the companies don't care. They test their products on us and then they see what happens. And that's not how we build aeroplanes. We don't just give it a go. We don't just try a new type.
We stopped animal testing. We banned that. And now we are the guinea pigs.
Yeah, and we generally prefer it when the planes that we do build don't fall out of the sky. We then just don't go, oh, okay, well, maybe they can sue. You know, we have product testing. It's quite a big deal. But there's way more regulations around, you know, what lipstick we can use as opposed to, like, what OpenAI can just stick out as its new.
Yeah.
So do you think then this recent trial where, you know, Meta was found responsible for the mental health of a woman and possibly and more, but do you think that trial is the beginning of regulation? Because we often see that, you know, cigarettes, same thing, weren't regulated. Oh, they cause cancer, regulated. You know, we saw the relationship with alcohol through the 20th century as we had prohibition and then realized that it did actually need to be regulated in some way. Do you think that this is the beginning of that?
I mean, totally. It's exactly the same playbook. And, you know, the companies which spent the most on lobbying, it was things like big tobacco, it was big oil. That's been that for years. Now, far and away, the biggest lobbyists in Washington, in the EU, it's big tech. And these are just, I think it comes back to, I think it's a really good way to think about it. Like, do you want, when you buy a toaster, do you think, well, it might send me psychotic or it might kill my teenager, but you know what, it's okay, it does make quite good toast. No, you kind of you hope that somebody else has looked at that and said, actually, that's safe to use. And that hasn't happened with any of these products.
And there are recorded cases where these apps, these best friend AI apps, have told teenagers to take their own lives, and that has happened. How the fuck hasn't it all been recalled? It is not ready, and it should never be ready because it's eroding the moral fabric of our society and it's drinking all our water.
Yeah, and so I think in that sense is that sort of, there's primitive biological drives are also being experimented on this way. I mean, I think there's a sort of empathetic and compassionate view you can actually bring to that. I don't think many of those men, in retrospect, wanted to be put on trial for what they did to Giselle Pellico. That wasn't a good outcome for them, was it?
No, but, honestly...
What got me was the ones that went, no, I'm not guilty. Like, amazingly, some of them went,
yes,
no, I'm
really
not
thought
guilty.
They were not guilty. Really thought they were not guilty. Do we have any questions from the audience? There's somebody right in the front row.
Here.
Thank you. You're talking about technology, but I'm reminded of the movie recently called Women Talking, where this happened in a Mennonite society with absolutely no technology.
Good point. That's an incredible point.
What happened in the Urge?
So
where they were raping their own community off in the middle of nowhere, and they were using horse tranquilizers.
Oh my God!
Against the small women, like young girls and their wives, and they'd all wake up bruised.
Oh
beaten,
my God!
Da da da. And so then the women got together. It's a true story.
So there's a Mennonite community, and Mennonite, like the Amish people, famously don't use technology, but the men in that community, which presumably operated a bit like a cult, were using horse tranquilizers and doing the same thing that had happened to Giselle Pellico. That's sobering, isn't it? Because that's not an influence of technology or pornography.
Something I'm very interested in is education, especially gender education. We don't start young enough. And I think one of the real issues is this issue of how we raise boys to be boys and girls to be girls, especially in sort of religious and Christian ideals. And so what that community shares with our culture now is these are the roles for boys and men, and these are the roles for girls. And the problem is that boys are taught from a young age to not be girls. Don't be a girl. Man up. Why are you crying? Stop showing your emotions. But if you then take someone who is born to find women attractive and tell them for the first 15 to 18 years of their life not to be the thing that they then want to have sex with, they're not going to know how to handle those emotions properly, and they're going to look at something they've been taught to hate and go, but I also want it. And then what ends up with that conflict is violence, sexual violence.
That's a very good point, Ria.
I also think kind of connecting all of these things is, again, to Ria's point about how we're socialized. I think, there is a very basic thing here, which is that women are socialized to think of sex as being about sex, and a lot of men are socialized to think of sex as being about power. And then that is, what Epstein did. It, again, to Ria's point before, I don't think that all of the men who were clients of his necessarily had the same proclivities as he did, but what he was offering them was the ability to do something that is not allowed, that everyone we thought agreed was absolutely not allowed, and he was offering them the ability to do that with impunity, and that makes people feel powerful. So, what they were doing was not even necessarily about, the act itself. It was about power, and that's the problem with how we raise a lot of boys and men, is that they kind of get to choose whether they think about sex as being about sex or whether they think of it as being about power.
That's what Dominic Pellico said, didn't he? When he was asked why he did it, he said, I wanted to subdue a powerful woman, or words to that effect. And
because he felt emasculated. But that's what it is. It's about, it's instead of, it's so frustrating. We have these situations and instead of being better, there are some men out there that go, I'd rather make you worse. They just don't want to do the work.
Facebook exists because Mark Zuckerberg was dumped. I mean, that's why,
true.
That's why we have it. It's because he was sad, and he didn't like that he felt powerless.
To be fair, it was also so he could rate the women on campus out of 10.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But he did it because to get
power.
back at his ex. So he said, I'm going to go back to my dorm room and do this thing to rate all the girls, and I'll rate her really low. That's how we got here. That is one of the most powerful men in the world now. And he was pretty straight up with us about it. Like, he told everyone what he was doing. He was like, I created this piece of technology to rate women because my ex made me sad. And then we let him rule the world.
But again, I feel like when we feel sad because we've been broken up with, we come together, we go over to each other's houses. There's a lot of conversation, a lot of
Ice cream.
crying, a lot of
Ice
ice cream. I've gone over to girlfriends' houses I stopped on the shop on the way, got the ice cream, got the wine, got the Haribo in, and then we talk about it for hours. We do hash out the same beats for weeks on end. If you're a good friend, you'll say the same thing 27 times.
You burn whatever you left in your house.
All of that. But what we don't tend to do is take over the world with very evil technology.
None of us have done that.
But is that
Yet.
where we're
Yeah.
going
Yet.
wrong?
That
Yes.
may be where we're going wrong.
That's where we're going wrong.
Do we have any other questions? Thank you. There's a question here.
Hi, it's not so much a question in so much an observation, but I'm an investigative journalist at CNN, and I actually produced the Rape Academy piece that you have all been talking about tonight.
Oh my God! Really?
Yes, hi. Yeah, we were chatting on Instagram earlier. I'm Neve, and I spent months in these rape group chats and forums
my God,
with
you
my
poor thing.
colleagues, messaging men and also asking the same questions that everyone's asking, why? And I just wanted to offer some insights in case it's useful. So obviously my colleagues and I, we focused extensively on Pelico as well. We actually interviewed the psychologist in the Pelico trial who profiled the 50 defendants. And what was really interesting was there were no pathologies or mental illnesses per se with any of these men. None of them had a single mental health condition. The only thing that she identifies was narcissism. She said across the board, they were all narcissistic men who were engaging in, again, archaic power plays where domination was the thing that they wanted, and it was power and control. And I found that really interesting, that it wasn't that they were bipolar or personality disorder. They had these narcissistic traits, and then they get into these spaces like Coco, the website that Pelico used, which is now, I don't know if anyone's seen, but it's now since rebranded and it's been reopened in the past
I read
2 weeks.
that yesterday. What's it rebranded as?
It's called Coco Land. And
Oh,
again,
what?
Yeah.
So it used to be coco.fr and now it's cocoland.fr.
Yeah, again, I could talk about this for a while, but basically there are so many ways and slippery ways that they evade this. So they've registered it now in the Coco Islands, which is, a territory off Australia where there's a lot of kind of slippery kind of ways to, have a domain name there. Anyway, long story short, I think it's all about, education, and, narcissistic traits are an important thing to look out for, but also in our documentary, which I would encourage you to watch if you haven't watched it, it's on YouTube. A lot of the women were also in kind of coercive, controlling relationships too. And I think that's another important factor. And Giselle Pelico herself, who we interviewed in our piece, she talks about how it is all education, and it needs to start much younger. It needs to start, 10, 11, 12, and
4.
4, yeah. And again, sorry, not really a point, but I just felt like I had to. chip in.
Not education clearly about this, but educating boys about how to behave.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your service. We would love to talk to you longer at another time. That's an incredible thing you did, and it must have cost you dearly to be in those situations. So we'd love to have you on another show.
Sorry, can I change that? I said 4 because it does need to be younger. It does need to actually start from birth. We already have science studies that show that we treat our babies differently according to their gender. And by 9 or 10 months, we can already see how boys are behind girls based on just the way that we treat them. So from birth. it needs to be different.
We've only got time for one more question, and this person's had their hand up for ages, and they've been waving like they're drowning. So I will take that one.
Thank you so much. This is a question for Carole, actually. Ever since this show was advertised, I've been wanting to ask you, what do you think, or are there any connections that you can see between maybe the attitudes or even the way that relationships and social connections work between the people around Epstein and the people who enabled the stalker of your poor ex-stepdaughter? You did this wonderful podcast called Stalked, and I wondered whether there was a connection. You could see anything that connected those two worlds.
Thank you for that question and for listening for that. And that's incredible. I'm amazed. That's so brilliant that you're here. And I was really curious about the team which had done that. So it's amazing to meet. And I mean, one of the things that we say in the podcast is that the first use case of any new technology is against women. Like, we see that time and time again, that whatever the novel technology that comes in, the first use case is to figure out how to weaponize that and use it to abuse or surveil or target or, diminish women in some way. And this is, I think, as I said, the sort of sensation that I took away from the Epstein files, and why I think, as so many women did, found it hard to really take in the magnitude of this all. But I came away with this: we are living inside the manosphere, right? That is our world. And these technologies which have been built by, and they are all men, and it's an ideology which, you've done so much on this podcast to, illustrate and illuminate and show that is coming for us here in the UK, that so much of this, religious ideology, which is coming for our rights and, in so many respects, it's baked into these technologies, and it's inherently retrogressive. And we, again, are the first use case, I think, of how we are seeing that play out. So the podcast was about Hannah, who is my ex's daughter, and how she was being stalked by a predator. And, I think that's the thing which connects this. These are predators. We're talking about predators. And this technology is predatory. And that is the sort of nature of, one thing I to go away and think about is that our data, your data, which is being harvested, it's the business model of these platforms. That's a predatory business model. It's extractive. And it then is used and weaponized and turned against us and able to be targeted in all of these different ways. So, yes is my answer. Thank you for the question.
Can I ask you both what, Lucia, you were at the Maxwell trial, so you heard it all. How hopeful are you that justice might happen? And how do you think we as people in our community who care, and, I know this has probably been a tough night if you're a man in the audience thinking, oh God, but there are men in the audience who've come because they care about this. What is it, and there's obviously lots of women, and I'm sure some non-binary people in as well, who really want to change the world. Like, what is it that we can do, and how hopeful are you?
I am actually, and this might sound insane because of everything that's happening, but I actually am feeling very hopeful right now because, I've been covering Epstein for almost 7 years. I've seen this come in and out of the news. I've seen people care about it for 5 minutes and then not care about it. And I've, been on that journey with survivors of his who have to see that happen. But something has changed. It's very obvious that we're either approaching or have reached some kind of tipping point with this case in particular. And, there are survivors who had never told their story before, who have now passed an act of Congress. They're the only reason that these files are out in the world. and they lobbied and they fought for it, and their voices are being heard for the first time, and they are being so brave. And you can see that it's working. You can see that something is shifting in terms of the way that people are kind of demanding justice. Like, I'm seeing people who, even in my life, who never cared about Epstein or were interested in the work I was doing about Epstein, are now really passionate about it and want to see people being held accountable. So I do feel like the mood is changing. That's very different to whether anyone will be held accountable, because that's up to law enforcement, who are, their ultimate boss at the moment is Donald Trump. So that's a totally separate question.
Do you think Andrew and Peter Mandelson will see the inside of a jail? I mean, I'm an abolitionist. I don't really believe in jail, but on certain circumstances, I'm like, well, that's the situation we've got.
Yeah.
If very disenfranchised people are in jail for much more kind of understandable and victimless crimes, they should not be just pardoned like that. Do you think here we might see any justice?
I think we might, and a lot of people really wanted to really dismiss those arrests as kind of not meaning anything. But for the survivors, they meant a huge amount, And, people were trying to get me to write opinion pieces saying, oh, this means nothing to survivors. And I said, I'm not going to write that, because it's not true, because I'm texting them and it's really important to them, to see the police in this country doing something, making arrests.
They probably enjoyed that picture of Andrew squelched down back in the car. I mean,
absolutely. And, it was a huge moment after decades of absolutely nothing in terms of accountability. So, I do feel hopeful, and I think that in terms of what we can do, we can all just make a decision to kind of get up every day and care about this and decide that we're not going to let this go away the way it has every other time.
What do you think, Carole?
I actually think we do have to give ourselves a bit of a clap on the back, because, in America, not a single person, a single man has been, they're all over those files. Their names are everywhere. We know who they are. Nothing has happened. And the fact that Prince Andrew, there is some sort of, some sniff of accountability. With Mandelson, we are, let's see how that rolls out. So I actually feel, the rules-based order is just about holding up here. And I feel that we can give ourselves a very small pat on the back. I mean, it's a small one.
We've got to take the wins.
We've got to take the wins.
If we don't take the wins, we're going to be so depressed and we're going to be demotivated. So we've got to take the wins where they come.
Exactly. There's not in the States, we are seeing, I hope you're right, but there isn't, with Trump, he's the ultimate, he has the ultimate impunity. He can do anything, and there's been nothing to hold him to account. And so, although I spend a lot of my time saying, we're living on borrowed time in terms of what is going to happen in this country and what could happen. At the moment, we still have some semblance of that is not okay. And even a prince is not totally beyond the long arm of the law.
Yeah, well, he's not a prince anymore.
Yeah. Well, exactly.
He's the nonce formerly known as Prince. Now, in the meantime, could everybody just get their phones out and sign up to the nerve.news? Woo. Because we can't say we want female journalists driving the news, driving the agenda, writing such quality pieces as you read in the Nerve News, and then not support it. So if you can afford, I think you can just sign up and not pay anything. But we would prefer it, obviously, if you could afford it, to do one of the paid options. Maybe you could knock off a subscription to something else that's run by some spreadsheets abroad, and where you're dropping money into an ocean and they're just getting paid from clickbait boohoo bikinis, and give it to the Nerve instead. These are just suggestions. But at least sign up so you get the emails, and then you can decide down the line if you're not ready to do paid right now. If you are ready to do paid right now, just click it on the Apple Pay. I'm sure those guys are good. And I can only assume. You must also buy Lucia Osborne-Crowley's book, The Lasting Harm, and you can read that in your own time then, and if, things get too much, you can just read a chapter and then you read another chapter in 2 days' time. It's good because you can really take it in with a book that's well written by somebody who was really there. And now she was really there because she paid for it by queuing up all night. How dare we not read it when she froze her ass off for it? Can I just say a huge, huge round of applause for Carole Cadwalladr, Lucia Osborne-Crowley, Ria Lina. Have you got anything to plug?
If I would just like to plug me right now. I'm shifting direction. I have a book coming out next year called How to Erase a Woman, which is all about the Matilda effect. So just keep an eye out for that.
Great. Buy Ria's book. Follow her on socials. And the incredible Dan Whitlam. Woo! And now, to close our show, it's GeeJay. Woo!
Abracadabra. We just thought we would finish the night with something uplifting and to present like musical flowers to you somehow for all of your efforts and all your hard work, and it's truly an honor to be up here, so thank you so much. And thank you to all of you for being here and being a part of this. This one's flowers. From the day till the day we throw it all the way. Let's talk about it, 'cause I can't do without your love. It means so much to me, can't you see? Right here I'll always be. By the way, did I say that I'm here to stay? Right here beside you, I will never deny you my love. You're everything to me, can't you see? I give it to you unselfishly, because I need you so, oh baby, and I won't never ever let you go. I'll bring you flowers in a pouring rain. Living without you is driving me insane. I'll bring you flowers, I make your day, yeah. The tears you cried, dry them all away. If one day you went away, I'd feel so lonely inside. I can't deny that I would break down and cry. And all those flowers, they would wilt in the rain, and it would cause me misery and pain. Because I need you so, oh baby, and I will never ever let you go. I bring you flowers in a pouring rain. Living without you is driving me insane. I bring you flowers, I make your day, yeah. The tears you cry, dry them all the way. Clap with me. Hey, hey, hey. Woo! Come on. The keys, everybody. Make some noise for the nerve. Make some noise for the Guilty Feminist. For Carole, Lucia, and everybody. Ria, thank you so much.
GeeJay, everybody! GeeJay, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you so much. You've been an absolute fantastic audience. I've been Deborah Frances-White. We've been the Guilty Feminists. Thank you and good night.
You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Frances-White, guest co-host Ria Lina, and our very special guests, Carole Cadwalladr and Lucia Osborne-Crowley, with poetry from Dan Whitlam and music from GeeJay. The recording engineer was Grundy Lazimbra. The Guilty Feminist theme tune was composed by Mark Hodge. The producer was Tom Selinsky for The Spontaneity Shop. Thanks to Gina Dicio, Zainab Mohammed, everyone at the Nerve, and everyone at the Leicester Square Theatre, as well as all of you for listening. For more information about this and other episodes, visit guiltyfeminist.com.
That's meant to be a punchline. She hasn't had time to workshop this. A lot of it's based on what happened yesterday, or in some cases today. Then you just go, yeah, like encourage her. You know, if you go to bed with a new lover, the first time, you don't want to discourage them. Now, I don't want any fake orgasms either. No, we're feminists here. But you know how you might go, ooh, just to encourage them that you... Yeah, you're warmer, yeah. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Don't fake anything. Just, don't hold back. Okay, so, since I saw you last, the king has gone...